You know, something big is changing in the world of football. That safe, patient, sideways passing game we've all gotten so used to, it might just be dying. Today we're going to dive into a report that breaks down this massive tactical evolution and really how the entire DNA of the Premier League is being rewritten as we speak. And it all starts with this: the death of the safe pass. I mean, that sounds more like a thriller than a tactical report, right? But it tells you everything. The core belief that you can control a game with safe, steady possession is being completely flipped on its head. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a full-blown revolution. So that leads us to this fascinating, almost paradoxical question. What if that simple 10-yard pass back to your defender, you know, the one you make to reset the play, what if that's now the single most dangerous thing you can do on a football pitch? And here's why. It's what this analysis calls the end of zones of ambiguity. For years, the best teams built their entire attack on finding those little pockets of space between defenders. Yeah, that whole playbook, it's pretty much getting thrown out the window. Let's get into exactly why that is.
Okay, so the whole game has shifted from defending space to defending the man. It used to be simple, right? A defender guards their zone, and if an attacker runs out of it, they just get handed off to the next guy. But now, in this new reality, it's all about the man. There are no handovers. Defenders are sticking to their assignments like glue, no matter where they go. And just like that, the time and space players used to have on the ball has just vanished.
So, if the old rules don't apply anymore, who's writing the new ones? Well, let's start by looking at a team that isn't just surviving in this new chaos, they're absolutely thriving in it.
And that team is Brighton. Their whole approach is called the paradox of control. They do two things that sound like they shouldn't work together at all. They have this incredibly intense, high-energy press to hunt the ball down. But at the same time, they'll patiently refuse to move the ball forward until the other team gets lured in. They're literally baiting you into pressing them.
This one number says it all. 8.71. That's it. This is the stat that proves they have the most aggressive press in the entire league. So what does it actually mean? Well, it's a metric called PPDA, stands for passes per defensive action. Basically, it counts how many passes a team lets their opponent make before they jump in with a tackle or an interception. Brighton's is 8.71. To put that in perspective, the league average is way up at 10.53. They give you absolutely zero time to breathe on the ball. So how do they do it? With this really clever tactic called structural morphing. When they don't have the ball, they look like a pretty standard 4-3-3. But the second they win it back, their number 10 drops deeper, and boom, they instantly shift into a 4-2-3-1. That one little movement creates a numbers advantage and puts the other team's defenders in an impossible position. Do you follow your man and leave a giant hole, or do you hold your position and let him turn? There's no good answer. And the proof is in the data. Look at this game against Brentford. In the first half, by baiting the press, they generated a massive 1.46 expected goals. Then, after they got their lead, they just completely changed their style, shut the game down, and created only 0.04 XG in the entire second half. That right there is the paradox of control in action. Okay, so Brighton has this super clear, aggressive identity. But what if the smartest strategy is to have no fixed strategy at all? Let's meet the team that's become almost impossible to scout. And that would be Nottingham Forest, or as the report calls them, the anti-ideologues. They have this brutally simple philosophy. Forget playing our game, we're going to find your weakness and build our entire game plan around that, changing completely from one match to the next.
Their whole approach changes depending on who they're playing. Against a top team like Liverpool, they go into what's called survive and counter mode. They'll sit back deep, accept they're not going to see much of the ball, and wait for their chance. But against a mid-table team like West Ham, it's the complete opposite. They're in dictate and press mode, pushing way up the pitch to take control of the game.
And the numbers behind this are just wild. Their average formation line, so how high up the field they play, literally jumps by a full 10 meters depending on the opponent. This tactical dissonance means opposing managers have no idea which forest is going to show up. Are they going to face a deep defensive block or an aggressive high press? Good luck preparing for that. And when they choose to sit deep, they set what's called a spring trap. They are absolute masters at absorbing pressure, winning the ball deep in their own half. Then, the moment they get it, that spring is released, and they just explode into all the space the other team left behind. It's a classic rope-a-dope, and it's devastatingly effective.
So we've seen how teams are defending in this crazy new era. But that brings up the next big question, right? If everyone is playing this super aggressive, man-to-man style, how on earth do the attacking teams actually break it down?
Well, according to this analysis, it comes down to two universal keys, two master keys that the very best teams are using to pick the lock. The first is all about individual brilliance, and the second is about collective genius.
So the first key is the domino effect. Think about it. In a strict man-to-man system, every defender has one job, one player to mark. But the moment just one attacker beats their man in a 1v1, it creates total chaos. Another defender has to leave their assignment to help out, and that immediately leaves someone else wide open. One successful dribble can make the entire defensive structure fall like dominoes.
The second key is even more elegant. It's called the third man principle. Look here. Player A can't pass directly to the runner, player C. So they use player B as a wall. The pass goes from A to B, who lays it off instantly for player C, who's already running into open space. It is so hard to defend because by the time the defender reacts, the runner is already gone into a part of the pitch that was empty just a second ago.
So when you bring this all together, you get the new meta of the Premier League. There's no one right way to play anymore. You've got Brighton's calculated baiting, Nottingham Forest's chameleon-like tactics, Arsenal's physical hammer, and Man City's intricate scalpel. The one thing they all have in common? Adapt or die.
And really, it all comes down to this single, powerful idea from the report. The era of dogmatic positional play is over. The winners mastered moments, not just zones. Football isn't a slow chess match about controlling space anymore. It's about creating, surviving, and ultimately winning these individual moments of chaos.
What an exciting, unpredictable new era for the game. So what do you think is next? Is the future going to be defined by calculated chaos like Brighton's, or radical adaptability like Forest's? Or is there something else entirely just around the corner? One thing's for sure, the beautiful game is changing